The bilateral ties between Ethiopia and Pakistan has been gaining momentum, especially over the recent years. And as a token of appreciation of the growing cordial ties between the two sisterly nations, Ethiopia has opened its embassy in Pakistan. And I'm going to spend some time with the ambassador of this new embassy, Ambassador Jemal Beker. This is our weekly Addis Dialogue. With it, I'm Shifar Alako. Do stay with us. Ambassador Jemal, thank you so much for making the time to talk to me, and congratulations on the opening of your embassy in Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. Shifaro, and I'm really grateful for coming and interviewing me on this occasion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's start with the opening of your embassy in Pakistan. Isn't it kind of long overdue, given the great and cordial friendship between Ethiopia and Pakistan? And also, what does the opening of this embassy mean in your view?
Thank you, Mr. Shifaro. This is a basic question. Countries follow open missions in different countries, following its national interest. And also the capacity and capability to run. Running the mission is not easy, actually, as you know. And you run in foreign currencies, and it depends on, the importance, what you gain from there. So basically, currently, our country has our Ministry of Foreign Affairs has undergone a reform, which is deep and penetrating reform, which is uplifting Ethiopia's diplomacy, capitalizing on the previous, accomplishment, and trying to also sort out the limitations and shortcomings. So with that in mind, our ministry has right-sized its missions in this regard. One of those outcomes that was giving birth to this, embassy is the recent reform. So now for us, what it means opening mission in Pakistan at this time of a history of our country. Pakistan has opened its mission here in 1973, and also they closed in around 1980, and they reopened in 2008. For us, always we follow our national interest, and outreach also with other international communities working for the peace, international peace, and collective security of international community. So for us, opening up this mission here at this time is following our national interest currently, which has been undertaken, the economic homegrown reform that has given and deepened, that will also basically has key importance, especially on the agricultural expansion, agro-processing. Second, also manufacturing, especially that can accommodate a lot of youngsters, skilled laborers. So that is also another national interest. The third one is technology transfer. Pakistan has got a technology capability which our country needs currently. So to uplift all this, and we try to open our mission in this big country.
Also, Ambassador Jemal, what are the bilateral ties between Ethiopia and Pakistan like as we speak?
Thank you very much. It is good to capitalize on, the previous engagement of our Prime Minister, His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, which is the Prime Minister of Pakistan, on 2018 on the sideline of Beijing meeting. During those meetings, they have exchanged on views on issues that can and agendas that can improve the relationship between the two country bilateral relationships, which basically focuses on investment, trade, tourism, and also international cooperation on ensuring peace and stability of the globe. So now the world had become a small village, as you know. What happened on one corner has an impact on the other nations. So working together is must. It's not, it's a necessity for us. So our, during those discussion, uplifting, and discussed on the establishment of the mission. So it was basically foundation has been laid by our Prime Minister during that time. And recently also, the Deputy, State Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Ridwan Hussein has, delivered message from our Prime Minister to the Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. In that, it is basically how to work together at bilateral level and international levels. So there is a strong appetite from both sides, and we have history so that attach us together in working on international peace and security too. So it is working in this framework to improve, to uplift, and flourish the relationship, bilateral and as well as multilateral.
So what are some of the plans that you are making, as part of the efforts being made to uplift, to reinforce the friendship between Ethiopia and Pakistan?
Thank you, Mr. Shifara. Recently you have read on maybe on the news, the embassies have all of the mission. Newly assigned ambassador has prepared 100 days plan. One of the plan is, there are two things. One is a concept paper. This concept paper entails, gives you the history, the political, the governance, society and government structure, and how that country works, the operating environment. So we have already identified, the history, the geographical importance, also geopolitics in this South Asian country, especially, Pakistan, if you see the geographical wise, it also neighbored with India, China, Russia, and also Iran, and, on the south also with Saudi Arabia. So this is a very important, and there is, all the superpower exist in these geographical areas. So for us also, we need to be also always, as driven by our foreign policies, always engaging based on our national interest, working with all nations. So for us, at this time, the most important issue is, number one is trying to get investors and potential investors, especially on agriculture, agro-processing. Second, also on the manufacturing. And the third is also on technology transfer. These are very priority areas, which is basically economic diplomacy. The second is also focusing on trade, increasing trade volumes. As you know, currently there is a trade imbalance between the two countries, around 55 million volume of, trade. So, Ethiopia has contribution is very, small, around 10 million. So we need to increase this one and trying to, I have already established discussion with the ambassador here and also our Ministry of Trade and Regional Integrations. We discussed on items, agricultural goods, manufactured goods that could be exported to that country. So laying down foundation, which is basically creating institutional cooperation between chambers of sectoral association of Ethiopia and with Pakistan too. So, forging in trade agreement. And after that, trying to promote also trade, farewell on that, trying to increase, promote Ethiopia's investment opportunity in this. So this is basic, priority area for us. The third one is tourism also. As Ethiopia is the home for all religion, as you know. Right. Also, they coexist together, from the early Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim. So as the Najashi Mosque, and others also. This is very good place where we can, strengthen the two relationship between tourism. So we are working on developing tourism destinations, then promoting these values that beyond the territory.
As you know, Ethiopia and Pakistan are both ideal places for investors, especially Ethiopia has a lot to offer to Pakistani investors who would like to venture on diverse areas of investment alternatives. So what is your message to Pakistani investors to invest here and also vice versa?
Thank you. This is a very key question, actually. What this reform in our country has done, one of the issues is trying to facilitate for foreign investors develop one-shop service. Previously, there is a bureaucracy that challenges, how the investor when they come and also they enter into the investment after that also. So now there is a clarity on this. So there is a reform going on the regulation rules that improve and protect also the foreign nationals' properties and resources too. So this is number one. So there is clear rules and regulation that protect the interests of Pakistanis in this country. The second is also, the bureaucracies previously challenged to most of, even the investors. Now there is one-shop service that, in which Ethiopian Investment Commission developed. Also, they have also specializations of staffs, how they handle and try to resolve from the pre-investment visit to up to the after investment. So all along the institutions is there so that there will not be challenges. If they encountered, also they try to resolve. So to ensure smooth coming in, touch the ground, and then also work and take opportunities that exist. So this is a priority area for our government, and that is why clearly puts the process very transparent, accountable too in this regard. Also, our country is working on improving, doing business, ease of doing business, as you know. So this is one also very pillar, and way every month, our Prime Minister as a board, so looking into the challenge encountered by the foreign investor in this country. If they encountered, immediately they bring the attention to His Excellency, the Prime Minister, and then the issue will be resolved. So what I can say to the Pakistani investor is, now Ethiopia is, opened up and waits and looking for you to receive you and work, grow together, and what this country offered to you. And also for other investors here in Ethiopia who look also on the Pakistan, as you know, basically manufacturing, as I stated in the very beginning, 41% of its GDP comes from leather and textile. So, especially the chemicals that we request for this, to lay down and improving this manufacturing sector, they can also, invest in this country and also try to work together with the investor communities in that aspect, so to ensure two-way mutual benefits between the two countries.
Ambassador, now that this embassy is opened in Pakistan, it will certainly give a boost to cooperation in different areas apart from investment, right? Including people-to-people ties, culture-to-culture cooperation, and also collaboration in the security areas. So what should be done in your views in this regard?
As you said, this is a big nation, as you know, from the very beginning of early human history. We say the land of origin, as you know. Everybody traced back from Ethiopia. We say when you come to Ethiopia, you come to your ancestral land. So, on the other aspect, also on religious aspect, if you see, Ethiopia is a home for all religion. From the early establishment, Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim too. So these ties attach Ethiopia with the rest of the world, as you know. The second also, public diplomacy, public-to-public relation. Ethiopia, there are a lot of Ethiopian students in Pakistan. Pakistan offers a lot of, scholarship for our students in medical and others too. So this will strengthen the already existing relationship. So we'll capitalize on this, improving on Ethiopia's, working with Pakistan on the education sector. Pakistan in the Middle East, if you go, a lot of, workers come from Middle East. So we can learn from them. We also prepare our, curriculum, our TVET, all the educational enabling modalities, so that also we can send our skilled labor to the Middle East. There is a huge demand in this aspect. So we can learn from each other and work together, as you said, for the international peace and collective securities. On the other aspect, Pakistan has also, the skills, institutional capabilities in international peace and security that works on with our countries, especially for us also we have opened, international peacekeeping teams that we have sent to in many parts. We believe what we do, this will help to improve and ensure the peace and collective peace of international community.
Let's also talk about current issues unfolding in Ethiopia, Ambassador. As you know, Ethiopia is going through a lot of issues from within. And as part of the efforts being made to overcome the challenges, Ethiopia is pinning its hopes on the upcoming national dialogue. What are some of your observations in this regard, and how can the national dialogue help solve the problems, in your view?
Ethiopia now redefined most of the international relations and international community, what Ethiopia means. The Ethiopians' independence, liberty that we are in, and when we have been touched and trying to intervene our international affairs, internal affairs, everybody stand together and defend our independence, defend our liberty, and we also defined who we are to the global communities. I hope they understand us very well now. So this Ethiopia means, always democracy should be homegrown democracy, as, on the Madamar aspect of, our Prime Minister's philosophy, especially now the governing principles of our country. So this is capitalizing on what you have. As a country, we have values, beliefs, and reasons that we attach us as an Ethiopians. So these values should be always a tenant for anything to build on, be it in democracy, be it also a political engagement, and all of this process. So we have passed through, all those processes, and now we are at a turning point. This is also ensuring our state building process and ensure our, coexistence and working together as a nation. So number one, this dialogue will try to resolve, the existing issues, challenges that we have encountered as an Ethiopian through this state, building state process. So number one, everyone, when we go into dialogue, we want always keep and look for the strong and vibrant, diverse Ethiopia that can deliver, strengthen its internal, cohesion, and also contribute for the well-being of its nation, and also contribute to the regional and the international peace and security. So everyone has gone through this kind of process. No country, if you see in the globe, every country has got its challenge. But the challenge is resolved through dialogue. There is no, even, if you take war, it's only to, ensure dialogue, so that you'll sit down and talk, ensure, and agree on the modalities, agree on the tenets, and look for the future. What is important is building vibrant, democratic, and, prevailing country in this aspect. So I believe the dialogue will, enhance the cooperation between nationalities of Ethiopia, and try also bring them and work together for the one nation, so that it will also play its role in the international community. What I have learned as a diplomat, I've served in many countries. When you have, differences inside the country, people look you down. So for you to be vibrant and strong country, you need to ensure peace and security and resolve the issues through very modern and peaceful mechanism, which is dialogue. The only way, I believe, for this big nation to take its location in this ever-changing global dynamism is to ensure it is peace and security, and it is internal democracy, and working together as one strong, vibrant nation.
In this connection, as you know, Ethiopia is also facing these threats of bills and sanctions, including the HR 6600. So how united should Ethiopians be in order to overcome such challenges, such threats, Ambassador?
One thing is very important. We need to be very clear as well. Ethiopia is for Ethiopians. Whatever we do, and we also believe in that coexistence with the rest of the world. Ethiopia has got challenges. That challenge emanates, and it resolves its own challenge through its mechanisms, rules, and regulation of this land. HR, as you see, 600, is trying to impose sanctions and other things. What is important is to engage with Ethiopia and work with Ethiopia. Ethiopia is, currently trying to resolve its differences, its challenges through ensuring, look, the government has taken a solid step. Number one, as you have yesterday, a complete ceasefire for humanitarian case. So this one, unhindered access for humanitarian from the very beginning, as you know. So this is what they have said, okay, access to these people. So we are opening up and continuously unhindered, humanitarian access to those regions. Second also, what we are doing is trying to deliver where there is, challenges through cargoes. This is also enabling humanitarian reaching them as quickly as possible. The third point is, we established, as you know, the institution, Dialogue Commission, that is bringing any difference in this country should be resolved through a democratic way, which is through a dialogue and give and take, so that everyone who has an agenda as a party, as an individual, as an intellectual too, and bring his agenda on and give, open up these agendas to the rest of Ethiopians. So it is up to Ethiopians to decide what to do and to determine their fate too. So Ethiopia is doing, we need to consider, we believe also any other Ethiopians, be inside the country, abroad too, should stand against this. And it is not also in the interest of those two countries. America and Ethiopia shares a long history. As you know, we have been working, since it is establishment, more than 100 years establishment of diplomatic relation. We need to work out and try to sit down. The government is working, recently the special envoy comes and meets our, high-level deputy prime minister and foreign minister. We have outlined, as he stated for them, and Ethiopia is ready to engage and work together. But it is not be in a way that this HR will try to, stab on the relationship that we have. It doesn't reflect the two countries' national interest. We believe so. So anyone, be it anywhere in the globe, we need to stand against, and it doesn't promote also peace and stability in this country. We believe it has to be homegrown, and they should also support these institutions, that is, Ethiopians working together as a national commission, national dialogue, and so that working and ensuring, supporting through human skills, knowledge, all those things. So it is enabling, creating environment for Ethiopian to resolve its differences.
Ambassador, I'm glad that you mentioned the ceasefire. Following this ceasefire, many countries, including the United States of America, are appreciating the move on the other hand. What have you observed in this regard?
What we believe is we are on the same page. When we listen to each other and also considering our national interest as a country, as a state to continue and protecting its sovereignty and territorial integrities. And when government is taking a bold and solid, ground. Recently, Ethiopia has, the ruling party, Prosperity Party, has conducted its General Assembly. One of the pillars that have been underlined is ensuring peace and security of this nation, anywhere. So Ethiopia works, we believe anything the interest of our nation we do. We are known for this, and the government determined to take the issue through peaceful mechanism, engaging with the other parties, engaging with anyone who will contribute for the peace and stability of this country. And we believe also in this peace coexistence of our nations. So sovereignty is very number one, and we should not compromise on that. So our societies where the challenge is, the government, the Prime Minister said, I don't want to see anyone affected because of this. And we need to outreach to the society, give them a chance, give them, as a country to live and give them necessary humanitarian support. It emanates from there, and we'll continue this. And the government, the US and the UK and many other Western countries and other, they encourage the government and appreciate the bold step that we take, and we will keep doing this for the sake of our nations and also improving the livelihood of our nation.
Let me ask you this question finally, and we'll wrap up. As you know, Ethiopia has played great contributions to the peace and security of the Horn of Africa. So in your view, how should this East African nation continue as part of the efforts being made to ensure peace and security and prosperity in the Horn region?
This is a very good question by itself. You know, if you see the global dynamism now, we're operating in very, globalization and the ultra, and also, African Renaissance and African, Pan-Africanism is on the rise, as you know. And also, we are on the international, internet digital eras. And so, especially the geography and geopolitics of Horn of Africa is affected by number one, the issue of Nile issue, as you know, the issue of our Grand Renaissance Dam. The second is Red Sea, also close to us. The geographic problem is not a problem, but the geographical importance to the international. And also Bab el-Mandeb, which is very close, the choking, areas of these international trade mechanisms. The fourth in this area is also, the competition, the superpower basin, as you know, in Djibouti as well. And there is also, West and East currently, issues exist. So we are operating in this very dynamic and very challenging, unpredictable, uncertain areas, especially in, on the Horn of Africa. So what is very important is working with light mind, especially our neighboring in our foreign policy is a key issue. Whatever happens to our neighbor, it happens to directly affect our national interest. So Ethiopia has a friendly relationship that gives priority number one for its neighbor. Especially as you can see, the Somalia. Previously before the change, when I was in Australia, they came, the community of Somalia. They said, "Oh, Jemal, we want to request to you, to ask your government, not to stop the intervention in our national, our internal process." But now, one of the solid paradigm shift is that in this change, Ethiopia, leaves the Somali issue for Somalis. And the others too, no internal affair, interference in this. They said this is establishing brotherly, friendly relationship between the paradigm completely shifted. So our, giving priority to our neighbor has improved and it is on the rise. So we, what we're working on all across with our neighboring country, Ethiopia is a landlocked country. So we have to work. All our neighbor has got, port service with exchange with other, other things. So we can encourage, improve, live together as, one strong, solid community. The growth of Ethiopia should not be a threat. It should be a benefit to them. So through investment, through, intercontinental, interregional, infrastructure that we have already set with Kenya, that we have already, recently is going to be functioned. We have also with Sudan, with South Sudan. We're also, already giving to our brotherly people of Djibouti water and electricities. And we want also, when we generate, surplus energy, we want to connect to our brothers all the way down to the Egypt and others also. This is a way of cooperating. We are not a fascist country. We believe in, the humanities. We believe in also the mutual existence and the mutual benefit of others. We work for this region as well as for the continent, as well as the international. As you have heard, during the inauguration of, Grand Renaissance Dam, our Prime Minister said, we want to also, they distribute our energy to the Europe through, this sea. So we are working all across with all, that everyone contribute for the well-being, and we also share a common destiny and working for the international peace and security of the international community as well as regional and our people too.
Ambassador Jemal, thank you so much for your wonderful ideas, for your time. And also, I wish you a wonderful and successful diplomatic career ahead in Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. Shifarao. The most important thing is, I believe in we Ethiopians. We're coming back on the stage, and we will play our great role as a big nation for the peace of our nation, the peace of the region of Africa, as well as international communities. We will play, as usual, and a great role, and we will strive and prevail and also get our right location in this changing global dynamism. Thank you, Mr. Shubara.
Indeed. Thank you, sir.
It's my great pleasure. Thank you.
Well, dear viewers, with that, we come to the end of today's program. Many thanks for being with us so far. Until I see you next time with another program, it's goodbye from me, Shifarao Dak. Stay safe and take care.